So the Linux community, or I wouldn't call them the Linux community. Folk who like Linux on Twitter are quite angry at the Turk. I don't necessarily understand why they would be angry, but I can see some layer of tribalism. Now, I've told you guys, right, on the console space, that sometimes when the PC tribalism kicks off, AMD, Intel, Nvidia, and all that stuff, you really start to see this rabid aspect to things, and it can be wild. What's weird too is some of you may think that I'm attacking Linux or whatever it is, and I've always laughed. Maybe it's just my style. Maybe I could be a little, abrasive in a while, but in a sense. But honestly, I don't intend to attack you. If I attack the object, it's not you. So I'm actually fine attacking the object, or if I wanted to attack Linux or whatever. But I'm not even attacking Linux in this particular case. I'm just stating the facts, right, that I actually have in front of me. So I installed Bazite. I did all that fun stuff, and I played a bunch of Steam games on there. It worked just fine. I enjoyed the process. In fact, I like the fact that Bazite's got like this menu system that you can use a controller to access all kinds of fun stuff. Volume control, Bluetooth connection, blah blah blah. Once in a while you'll probably maybe touch a mouse and keyboard. I don't even think you need one. Once you're set up and you're good to go, you're absolutely good to go. Nothing wrong with that. But here's the challenge. There are limitations whenever you're using a Linux operating system. Why? The gaming industry is not geared towards Linux. So now we bring Xbox into the picture, and we even bring PlayStation into the picture. Even these two publishers that have traditionally put their games on consoles, they're not necessarily going to be interested in making you a Linux port for a game. Microsoft's probably going to be the least that's going to actually do it, where they're going to sit there and then say, well, we got Windows and everybody plays on Windows. Why are we going to make a Windows port? In fact, the only thing you can do with an Xbox with Linux is you can just cloud stream. I tried it. It worked. When your internet's good, you're going to get a good experience via your browser. So, yes, you can play Xbox games via your browser, but you can't necessarily tap into aspects of the ecosystem. And one very valuable aspect of the ecosystem, ladies and gentlemen, is actually the Xbox experience on PC, where you got an app and it opens up the door for you to be able to access a number of games. This by itself is very valuable for the gamer, especially the gamer that likes the bargain gaming, paradigm. So I've noticed one thing since he put out his tweet and thread talking about things like, number one, dealing with the fact that Linux is not going to play a number of these games because many of these games use anti-cheat, and the anti-cheat is only compatible with Windows. So most of them aren't going to even launch. That's already the very first place. So he says this. He says, first, let's go for the low-hanging fruit. He says, according to, let me go ahead and put this out. According to the engagement data, the average gamer is playing games that just don't run on Linux. So already, a lot of people are making this claim that somewhere, somehow, Linux is going to, in a sense, just jump right in there and eat market share from Windows. But you got to understand, market share right now is based on these games from Matt Piscatella's data that he collates every time. It's not just based on them, but it's largely predicated on them. In fact, remember the data set. So let's use the data-driven perspective, because I'm seeing a lot of people jump into this conversation. It's like, relax. A data-driven perspective tells you that 40+% of gamer playtime is only made up of about 20 games. Do you understand what I mean? And if those 20 games are having compatibility issues, or a chunk of those 20 games are having compatibility issues, then you've basically put yourself in a very different position. As much as I may tell you, now, shout out to, for now anyways, the developers at NetherRealm. Okay? NetherRealm, their games run without those problems. For now anyways. I don't have that issue with Mortal Kombat 1. I can play it on Linux. I'm so elated. And I can play it on Windows. And I'm also so elated. So for me, I can actually be a 90%, if not even a 98% Linux gamer with no qualms at all. The problem, though, is if I decide that I even want to go touch any of these games that exist on this particular list, cooked immediately. Now, here's the problem on top of that is, even if I become a 98% Linux gamer, what is that 2%? And that 2% is a significant 2%, don't get me wrong, is I don't have access to this particular market over here. The beauty of the PC ecosystem, whether you like it, whether I don't like it, whether you hate it or whether I hate it, is that you have access to markets. Let me go ahead and just blow some of your minds. Check this out. I calmed down today, right? And I'm like, bro, I don't remember when last I played Titanfall 2 because I know I owned a copy that was given away for free sometime. May have been PlayStation, but I said, I want a copy of Titanfall 2. I just want one. You know what I mean? Steam said it was $4 today. And then Mass Effect Legendary Edition has been going on sale at $5 every day. And I said, you know what? I just want me a license. But I got a license here with, basic Game Pass Premium with EA's whatever. But I just want the option. It's okay. I know I probably maybe could beat 3 of them within, the Christmas holiday. But nah, I don't want that pressure of beating all of them. And whatever. EA app is what this is going to pretty much go ahead and, kind of want to pull me into. And I'm trying to avoid the EA app. If it was like straight Xbox, I'd probably just be okay with that. But EA app has been fun. It's been nice. I've gotten some deals out of there. But for crying out loud, that Javelin anti-cheat is probably trying to, pull me away from giving them any more resources of mine. So again, we go back to his analysis and his assessment, and he's making a lot of sense. He also talked about things like Dragon's Dogma, which locks RT off in the game, Ratchet & Clank throwing a VRAM error, and 23% of gamers won't run another 18%, won't run, and another 18% can't run graphical settings that are available. So these games are seeing challenges that Windows does not put up. Remember, some of you were complaining, with the, I'm talking about those of you on console, well, you play on PC, you have to tinker with all these settings. And then PlayStation gave some of the PlayStation Pro, PlayStation 5 Pro people settings, and all of a sudden settings were good. But can you imagine where a game that's been ported by Nixxes, cleaned up and fine-tuned, that has graphical settings that you can leverage, and then you fire the game up on a Linux device and yuck. For those keeping track, that's 41% of the games I'm testing that do not work out of the box in Linux. Now, games that do work. Well, Bazai performs better in one of them, ties in another. In the remaining 68% of games, 7 of them are over 10% slower than Windows. All testing is done on a PS5 Pro simulation rig, Ryzen 3600, RX 9060 XT 16 gigs with 16 gigs of DDR4, 3200. 9060 is even beautiful because that gives you a whole bunch of fun stuff. If it's R4, blah, 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 because it's in that category of GPU. Given over a third of popular games don't run, and at least another 20% don't support same features, that's almost half that just don't work. And that's entirely my point. The average gamers want their games to work, and compared to a console, simply not acceptable. 5 out of 10. To say Linux is the superior operating system of gaming is a lie. Even if performance is a close plus to negative 5%, compatibility alone makes it a no-go for the average gamer. Those of you saying do research, newsflash, gamers will simply return it rather than debug it. And if you're saying it can't be done, then you're conceding your point, and my testing is not only valid, I'm right, 6 out of 10. For those saying I don't care, I'm not playing the multiplayer slop. Newsflash, you are in the minority of gamers. This is a data-driven perspective. I'm sorry, you can't run away from this. This is the reality. Again, as much as I'm sitting here saying, whew, I'm breaking my sweat and I'm wiping my sweat off my face and saying, whew, man, Mortal Kombat runs on this bad boy, man. It's so cool, man. Who? It's still a minority of gamers. Bro, we've gotten to the point in Mortal Kombat 1, I'm playing the same guys. They're guys that I when I see their name tag, I want to just close the game. Because I know they're using that stupid Homelander main that I can't stand. Or they see my gamer tag and they're like, man, this guy again. Because I'm constantly bothering them. They're constantly bothering me. And they probably don't want to deal with the headache of we could almost just have beers now. Because that's how much we know each other and our play styles and our main characters. And it's crossplay. Right? You said for others saying Windows is maybe a lot of the PlayStation guys are turning off their crossplay. PlayStation guys on Mortal Kombat 1, is that what y'all are doing? If you're doing that, I'm going to activate my PlayStation Plus and I'm going to come find you. Y'all need to get into, crossplay situations so we can play more of each other. If not, I'm coming out there on the PlayStation ecosystem, man. For others saying Windows is full spyware bloatware newsflash, it still runs better. If you're worried about your personal data, get off the internet. Social media, your ISP, and even your game launcher knows more about your habits than you think it does. If PC gaming is going to win console users, the UX has to reach that least common denominator. You can't expect the user to read a guide to get past an issue. Xbox full screen experience and SteamOS have a lot of work to do, but I think Windows has the path of least resistance. I said that in a video. I said, guys, and I said it in a very weird way. He's more eloquent than I am. I said, you see, both of them, I'm such a bumbling idiot sometimes. I said, you see, both of them, they actually, have this thing, this place they have to reach, but Windows can reach there faster than, I'm so silly, bro. But I knew exactly what I wanted to say. They do have the path of least resistance. Why? Compatibility has pretty much set them ahead of everybody else. So when you open up your Windows library and your Windows gaming, and your games from Steam, and your games from Epic Games, and your games from EA Launcher, everything just gets pulled automatically. Ubisoft Launcher, and you click the button, bam, and it fires up. And then if you're using the full screen experience, you click the button on your device, and then it just fires up like that, bro. They are already ahead of the game, and they just showed up. It's weird, but that's the way that's the way the card actually fell for, Xbox. And it is what it is. So you can, people can pound their head on a wall or do whatever the flip it is that they want, but this is just the reality. He said, I want Linux to succeed. I want Bazzite to improve their UX. I want devs to see this experience and fix their games. That's why I did this testing. To continue touting a false narrative that Linux is better doesn't help the situation. It actually makes it worse. If you've enjoyed this rant, please follow the page. I'll test more if you want, 10 out of 10. This person said the command line to use FSR4, just copy and paste, copy something to the Steam options, simple as FSR4 upgrade equals 1, at least on Catchy OS. Well, he used Bazzite, and maybe it works the same, but that's the thing with Linux distros. The distros, they start to fight, which is the best distro, and it's like, man, come on now. But again, this is exactly what it is that we're talking about, right? This person said, list of games that average gamers mostly plays. What are those games? This looks like a list of games that corporate heads think players really play. Who's this person, man? Cardi, I don't think you actually are paying attention to the research. But this is actually a very interesting paradigm. So what's the Turk doing? Because the Turk is a glutton for punishment sometimes. He's basically asking everybody and saying, where is that? There it is. He said, for my next Windows versus Linux series, which distro should I use? This one is centered around the average Steam user survey. Some people are talking about Nobara being better. Some people are talking about Mint being good. Some people are saying Catchy OS is being good. I got a Linux guy, a good friend of mine, like my brother. He does a lot of Linux stuff. So me, I don't have to worry. His job is to basically go ahead and just finish checking out all of these Linux possibilities. And for now, he has me on Fedora. And man, I can tell you from a desktop experience, because I'm not worried about the so-called full screen experience yet until they clean it all up. And even then, I like to dual monitor my way through gaming. Guys, I like when I'm waiting for a match. I want to just click things. That's how I engage with it, right? So the full screen experience is good. Don't get me wrong, but from a desktop experience and gaming, I've been rocking Fedora. Not a single problem so far. So for those who say Nobara is what they want to check out, let them check it out. Bazzite I already use. I mean, it's not doing anything special. Just want to say Bazzite if you want a more hand-holdy experience, or Fedora if you want to use the Bazzite. The OS Bazzite is based on that, but with all the gaming stuff pre-installed and configured. Bazzite is immutable lockdown, while Fedora isn't. Yes, this was one of the reasons that I took Fedora, because he told me that the immutable aspect of Bazzite's what makes it really weird. But Fedora, you can pretty much go ahead and kind of like restore stuff and all the above. To close the Windows experience as possible, Linux Mint. Okay, we'll see how it works. Bazzite is, as I see, is at the lead and the most used platform, especially with dual boots. Yeah, a lot of people talk about the dual boots on YouTube and all that stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, as much as you guys want to talk about dual boots, right? What is the what is the cost there? Are people really excited and yay, dual boot, what's up? Oh yeah. Or are they just showing YouTube videos? Or like if you have a Windows device, why would you dual boot into Bazzite? Why not just go ahead and install Bazzite? Like I did it on one of my handhelds. I just wiped the whole thing into freaking Bazzite. I just was like, let's go. But not a lot of people want to do that. They want to dual boot. Why are you my question is, why are you dual booting? Oh, because of what? More performance? Oh, because of simplicity? I mean, you got all that right there in a handheld with Windows too. I mean, you're a PC guy. Click a thing, touch the screen, interact with the, it's a handheld, But I don't know, man. It's all about preference. But I'm out. Thanks for watching the video. Appreciate your time and audience. Let's talk in another video. Peace out.